And it's only with the let me get off of. All right, I took myself off Wi-Fi for my phone, and then I could like change this setting to something else so we could get that right. It looks like it's frozen again, so let's see. There it goes. Okay, cool. Yeah, it has to like it's a delay. Anyways, so she's up here for a month, so I've been trying to get her cardio and her heart strong enough. Because the last time she had a procedure, she almost died. And it was supposed to be a stand-up procedure. She was supposed to be in and out like within 4 hours, and it turned into an 11-hour procedure because they could not stabilize her blood pressure, and then she ended up, instead of her going home, she ended up in the ICU for like almost 2 weeks. So it's a big ordeal. So after that, a few years later, there was another procedure she was supposed to have to correct an issue with her arm, but the doctor didn't want to do it because they were worried that she wouldn't make it to the procedure. So I was like, okay. So here we are a few years later. So she's supposed to have another procedure, and we have to figure out what we want to do with that, because if we don't have the procedure, so they're concerned that she has cancer and that it might get out of control, but they don't know yet. The test they've done hasn't confirmed it. And if for those of y'all who don't know how psychics work, we can't read our own, really can't read our own family or our loved ones. We can to some extent, but it's really reduced in how accurate we can be, because the moment you care about the outcome is the moment that your accuracy level drops significantly. That's why it's always best for me to have like a very distanced relationship with people that I know who I read for, because if the closer I am, the more I care about the outcome, and then it messes with what I'm able to see in my head. So it's hard for me to see my own family's like future. So, and even myself, I can't read myself. But with her, so we've been having to figure out. So the procedure is an exploratory procedure. It's supposed to go in and explore and find out if she has cancer or not. And while they're in there, because they have to put her under, while they're in there, they're also going to treat whatever issues may be going on there as well. And so if they do the procedure and then she comes out okay and there's no cancer, that's it. That's the end of the, she don't have to have anything else. If not, they may have to have an additional procedure. So then there's that potential. And then if it's cancer, then obviously that takes it in another direction. So we're just like, and so for everybody who's been following me along in the last year with my OCD paranoia about my mom, y'all already know that I'm like scared about her passing, because last year I had all these dreams and things happening that were signaling that something was coming. So here we are now, and then my sister also started having dreams, and then my mom has also had dreams about her family members, our relatives who are passed, coming to invite her to a party, or they're throwing a party, and I'm just like, so we don't know what's going to happen, but I've just been mentally prepared because I don't know what's going to happen. I really don't know. And this is one of those things where I don't have control of the situation. So no matter what I do mentally to prepare myself, just so y'all know, like the inner workings of dealing with being a psychic and a medium, and then also dealing with people in your life. So that's all the stuff that you have to deal with. So we have to decide what the procedure's already scheduled, it's set, and there's a pre-check 2 days before the procedure. And so my sister woke me up. I woke up this morning and checked my text messages, and her first message to me this morning was like, I had another dream about mom, and I had a dream that she passed away during the surgery. And I was just like, so it's just like, it's become a redundant thing with us. And we're all psychic. My mom is psychic. I'm psychic. My sister's psychic. I'm the one that turned into a professional out of it. But my mom is very psychic. Usually whenever we have a loved one who's going to pass away in the family, she dreams about it the same week. I'm also dreaming about it as well. So, but we just don't know what's going to happen at this point. But I'm just trying to prep her to give her the best shot of getting through it. So I'm trying to get her cardio right and get her to like have have her circulation working better, so that even if she makes it through, we don't have complications. That's an additional issue to have to be concerned about. But we'll decide on the pre-check in the month whether we're going to go forward with it or not. But it is a risk, because if there's cancer, we should find out, and we need to find out. And they couldn't tell from the other 2 tests that she had done. So it's a complicated issue. So we'll find out in a month. But either way, I'm just like, I don't even know how to, I'm like doing the very best that I can. And I'm doing what is within my control and within my power, but there's only so much I can do, right? So, and at the end of the day, it doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, or what your circumstances are, or privilege are, or whatever. Like at the end of the day, we all are human beings. We suffer from the same issues, the same circumstances. We all suffer in one way, shape, or form. And if we're gonna, we all live We all die. So it's just like, it's one of those things where I'm just like, ugh, I have to get my head wrapped around it. Sorry, I know this is like a venting session I'm about to get into readings. Yeah, I know y'all didn't like come on here to hear me like express, but this is a human thing that I want to share with y'all because it is not easy for me. And it is a process, and every day that my mom's here, and because she aside from that, because that's like the issue that we're having to deal with in a month. My mom's a schizophrenic. She is a diagnosed schizophrenic. She suffers from undifferentiated schizophrenia. And she's on medication. She has to have an injection once a month because it keeps her from having delusions. And then also she's on medication that help with the voices in her head. And she has the voices. And the voices that she has tell her, back when she was having the episodes, the voices would tell her, like, go get a knife and cut someone, or, they would tell her to hurt people. And so her like whole thing, it's weird because I really do believe that people who suffer from schizophrenia are literally on like the fence of having psychic experiences and connecting with spirit. And then also they're interacting and engaging with energy on such various frequencies and levels that it's hard to distinguish between what's her, what's spirit, and what's energy. And so when you're that sensitive, it can be a thing. And so she has to be on medication. And when her medication is off, or they're doing something to change her medication, she loses balance and control, and then it becomes a process. And yesterday, and I blame myself for this because she has some digestive like bowel issues. And so I've been trying to help her regulate her bowels to get her bowels right so that she doesn't have to worry about going out and so forth. Because, when you get older, y'all, when you get older, that's it. You got to wear diapers. You got to do stuff. And so I'm helping her to get her bowels right. But part of that has been to have a little bit of coffee in the morning. Even though coffee can increase your anxiety, just one cup has been fine with her. And so I've been giving her coffee. But then during the day, she was drinking tea, and tea has caffeine as well. And then she has a Zevia root beer in the afternoon, and that has caffeine as well. And so we had a little bit of an issue because some of her medication wasn't set up right. And so we were trying to get that corrected. We got that corrected. But then she was also having caffeine. So yesterday she was completely like, I'm really anxious. And I was like, that's okay, Mom. I'm going to help you. I have anxiety all the time. I suffer from a lot of anxiety. I have ways of coping with it and dealing with it. And I believe that energy comes through us, right? And we build up the energy, and we either have to use it constructively and handle that energy, channel it in some way, shape, or form. But if the energy builds up within you, either you feel it more in your body, and it will manifest in some way in your body, or it will manifest in your thinking. And if you don't have a proper way of channeling the energy, either through physical activity or through mental activity, for me, it's mental. For some people, my sister, she channels it through her physical body because she does a lot of physical activities. If you don't channel it properly, then you have too much energy. And then at that point, you have too much mental activity going on, and you have that OCD and all of the mental racing thoughts and everything. If you have too much of it in your body, then it can manifest, and I believe it can manifest in a issue or a challenge in your body. So for her, she has it mentally. So because she was anxious, and part of it was my fault because I let her drink those things, we had to work it off. So I had her doing her workout yesterday. We sat outside in the sun so she could get those rays in. And then she calmed down and she relaxed. And not only that, but then we also gave her medication to help her because there's an anti-anxiety medication, and it helped her, and she chilled out. And then she was finally able to sleep last night. So now she's like balanced back again. But that's what happens. Like when you have a mother, or when you're dealing with someone who's schizophrenic or has a serious mental condition, you have to maintain that balance. Any little thing can throw them off. And then once they lose stability, that's when you're in a whole different ball game, and you got to deal with a whole host of other issues that you didn't really want to deal with. But for her, she's been pretty stable for a long time, but every now and then she'll have these moments where she starts to have an episode, and we have to bring her back into balance, or she'll go off the deep end. And it's been years and years since she's had those moments. like 15 years since she's last been unstable. So it's a process, y'all, but it's just the stuff that, so for those of y'all, if I haven't been as active on social media in the last week, that's why, because I've been dealing with Mom, and then I've been managing my own workload, because every time I work, I have like about 10 or 15 appointments. And then I do the lives, and then I'm trying to help her with her exercise. I got to cook and everything like that. So it's a lot of responsibilities. So I just needed to vent, y'all. I just need to express what's going on there. So anyways, all right. So let's get down to it. The interview was great. It was great. This is my 4th time on the show, on the TV show. And for those of y'all who haven't seen it yet, I have a show that I do once a month, more or less, with a TV station in Colorado Springs. And they have me on there once a month and so forth. So I think I blew her away this time, more so than the previous times, because I did personal readings for them. And a lot of things that I said, they validated off camera, because they only had like a few short moments to do the segment. So that was cool. That was awesome. But I have to wake up early in the morning to get my mind right, because I have to be in the right mental state, and I don't want to sound all like groggy, because I tend to lose my voice. But yeah, for those of you who are new, I don't normally go on a venting period, but I needed to express today, just because it's just a lot, so y'all understand like what's going on behind the scenes, because y'all just see me on here, and sometimes I'm more optimistic and I'm more like, but there's a whole host of production type thing going on behind the scenes. Okay, so if you're new here, this is your opportunity to ask me whatever questions you want to ask me about. And if you want to ask me about your life, be specific with your question. Don't be general or vague. If you're general or vague, I don't have time for that. I don't have time to figure out what you want to know or what you're asking me about. So if you don't have a complete sentence, if you're just being super vague, if you're just asking, do I have any messages, or what should I know, or what can you tell me about? That's too vague. It's not specific. I'm not even going to take my time in trying to figure that out, or even just waste my time with you. So just FYI, you have an opportunity to ask me your questions. Ask them. If you want to know about a loved one in spirit, who do you want to connect to? Just let me know the connection. Like, I want to connect with my dad, or I want to connect, with my cousin, and then if it's a cousin, like, what cousin, because I need to know who you want to connect with. And I can intend to connect to that person and bond or merge the energy, and then bring through any information that might help you to understand that they're with you. If we were doing a full reading, we would have a whole lot more time, and I would give a lot more information that I'm able to give in a short moment. But I have so many people wanting readings and needing my time, and so I've just got to make it as fast and as quick as possible. If you are going to get on camera with me, y'all, you can do so through Instagram and on TikTok. And I think if you're on TikTok, be sure to switch on your camera setting, and you can do so you can actually do it during the connect. So if I connect with you on camera, you just have to switch. There's a little on the very top, like right corner, there's a little pencil. You click that and edit, and then you turn on your camera, and that way I can see you. If you don't want to be on camera, you don't have to be, but just have your phone facing the ceiling or something. That way you don't have to be on camera, because I know some people are camera shy, or they're worried or concerned. So as usual, my statements, people always believe psychics know everything or see everything. We do not. We sense things. There's a big difference. So whenever I sense something, I sense it in bits and pieces, and I have to bring the information together to kind of figure out what it means. And I get all of my information in bits and pieces, but I either see it as a visual or symbol that I need to interpret. I'm going to feel emotions connected to what it is that you may be going through. I'm also going to have memories come up, because my brain is trying to help me understand what is going on with you. So it's going to use an example from my past. So it'll use a moment where I had a conversation with another client, or a situation I've encountered before, to help me connect the dots in my head about what's going on with your life as well. So that's how the psychic part works. With the mediumship, I don't see them, I don't hear them. People would think a spirit is right in front of me, and I'm Jennifer Love Hewitt, and I'm going to be able to regurgitate verbatim what they want to say. Doesn't work that way. The communication with them is in my brain. I only am aware of it in my brain. And so what is happening is they are triggering my thoughts, my emotions, and my memories. Same method as the psychic process, except that they're the ones guiding the conversation. I'm not just tuning in and asking. They're giving me the information. And so with that, I have to figure out what that means. Sometimes it's one little piece that makes sense to me, like a number. When I see a number, it's either a date of significance, whether it be a birth date, death date, anniversary date, and it's either their date or connected to you. If they give me a name, they're going to try to give me the name that is as closest to what they're trying to say as possible. For example, if the name is Sheila, they might give me Shelly or Shelby or Sharon or Shy. They're going to get me close to the sound of it, because I don't know a whole lot of names. If I were a postmaster and I worked for the postal service, I'd probably be able to give you names and addresses, because that's what happens when you work for the postal service. You remember stuff. I don't remember names very often. So for me, I only have a limited amount of names that I use. So just FYI, that's how the name game goes. And it's either their name, the name of someone that's with them in spirit that they're trying to relate to us, or someone that they want to bring up in the conversation that we need to acknowledge. So just so you know how that works. As usual, my statements are personal opinions that guarantee future events. Whatever decisions or actions you decide to take in your life, you are 100% responsible for. You can change your future. future. It's never set in stone. I know a lot of people worry about that, but you can if you want to. And I am not a licensed medical doctor, counselor, attorney, or law enforcement official. So for legal medical advice or treatment, please consult a licensed professional. And that's it. So that's all there is. Those of you who don't know, don't have manners, or who are just nasty people and have a lot to say but don't have anything to offer, you're going to get muted or banned. So just be prepared for that, because I've had people try it and then they come back because they're like, oh my God, Ferny, you were right, or oh my God, I really want a reading. Too bad. You lost your opportunity because you're a bitch. So just so y'all know, and I do like to curse, I'm not going to sugarcoat anything for y'all, so y'all know how I operate. So if you're going to get easily offended, you probably want to tune out now, because you aren't going to see 100% professionalism with me as far as the way I carry myself. I'm a real person, real human being. I'm going to communicate with you in that way. Unless I'm on TV, I'm going to curse. So just FYI with that. All right, let me bounce around here so I can get started, because I know I've been talking long enough. Rebecca, my husband has court tomorrow. Do you see a good outcome? I feel like there's going to be an additional appearance or an additional date. So it may not all get resolved tomorrow, because there may be some additional details that have to be worked out. However, I kind of feel like it may seem as if it's not going to go his way, but then I think once the additional date comes up, that seems to be, it makes it better, or it feels like it's a lot better. So I actually think there's another date after this one. So this might be the first of one, and then there's a follow-up or an additional date, which might either resolve this in his favor or just make it easier and better for him as far as the outcome. Okay. By the way, guys, I'm gonna do some psychic questions first, and then I'll get into the mediumship part, just because my energy is low, because I've had a busy day and I've got weird sinuses happening today, so I'm a little bit weaker. So I'm gonna build my energy up, and then I'll get into some of the mediumship questions, just so y'all know my process. Remember, guys, if you just ask for a reading that is not a question, then you missed an opportunity for me to see what you're asking me about. Interesting. Suzanne, I have surgery April 7th. My mom's surgery is on April 8th. So my mom's surgery is the day after yours. I have surgery April 7th, and it's actually 3 surgeries at one time. I'm so scared I was going to find out if cancer or not, plus shaving 2 bones in throat. Grateful for any message. I actually think that the procedures will go to standard. So I actually think that they'll go fairly well. I do think that the recovery time might be a bit longer than you would prefer, just because I see you more uncomfortable in dealing with it after the fact, not necessarily any major issues during the procedure. So I actually think the procedures will go fine. I just think the recovery period is just going to be a bit more involved than what you want. Another thing, I'm not a doctor. I can't diagnose, but I'm not feeling cancer around this. I am feeling like it because there might be two spots that may look a bit questionable, but I'm kind of thinking that both of them are pretty much resolved before this even goes into that territory. So I'm kind of thinking this might actually have been caught in the right nick of time. Okay, but the recovery, you might need to work a little harder for the recovery. Laura, hi Ferny, my health has been on a roller coaster ride. Do you see the doctors finding me some help? There's a couple things with this. One is I do feel like blood clotting and blood pressure might be a contributing factor or part of the equation that might be aggravating your health. I also think that the way your body is metabolizing and blood sugar might be a bit off as well, which might be making you feel worse. It's weird because I almost feel like this falls under like an autoimmune condition or disorder that could be resolved, that could be improved. But I feel like it may be autoimmune based, but I feel like these are other contributing factors that may be aggravating the condition altogether. And so some of what you're feeling, it may all be based on an original or initial either infection or an initial illness that may have been the trigger, and then everything else after that has just been kind of bouncing around. I do think that you will get some help, but I feel like it's going to take about 2.5 months before you get with the right doctor that can kind of get you on a solid plan. I also feel like the first 2 or 3 doctors that you try you may feel like they're just not really thoroughly examining you, or they may tell you that it's all in your head, or they may say like your numbers. These fake psychics and the Grand Rising. Grand Rising, everybody. Grand Rising. Crystal. Hi, Ferny. My husband and I are opening our own business. Do you have any advice for us? We are super nervous. A couple of things. One is, initially when you open the business, I kind of feel like the target audience, or like the focus of the business, the people, or the point of sale. I call it point of sale because it's Starbucks lingo. The point of sale, or the focus may not be perfect, and it almost feels like y'all are just going to be kind of throwing something out hoping to catch, in the way that's how it feels to me at the beginning. But then I feel like 2 or 3 months into getting this rolling, all of a sudden somebody comes into the picture who has experience with these kinds of businesses, who may actually offer to help out. It may cost a little bit of money, and y'all may even question whether this would be beneficial or not. I wouldn't call it advertising, because it feels more like just kind of aligning the business to what's already worked with other companies in the same industry as well. I think at that point, and that person, it's like a male, and I want to say the person's name starts with an A, maybe with an A, like Adam or Aiden. And at that point, and it's like a connection that y'all make through people that y'all know. At that point, I feel like you start to see a shift in the way the business is operating, and it feels much, much better. Also, be careful with taxes, because I can see y'all running into some tax discrepancies early next year. Y'all may need to do a little more homework with the tax situation, because I kind of feel like the way y'all file taxes early next year, I was like, why did y'all do that? Like, that doesn't make any sense for the business that y'all have. So y'all might need to change with who's going to be dealing with the finances and the tax part early next year. So y'all don't have to deal with more costs incurred without it. But I do feel like it can definitely work. Let's go over here. CP3. Am I in the right relationship? That's where you decide. Can't tell you what you should or shouldn't do. I'm not gonna tell you to break up with this person. However, I do think that when it comes to a relationship, I kind of feel like you're just like pouring liquid into a cup with a hole in the bottom, where it's like the effort's just not really doing much for you. So I don't feel like this is going to become more than what it is. So if you can accept where it's at, stick with it and do the best you can with it and make the most out of it. I just don't feel like you're gonna be happy with it, and I ultimately think y'all are gonna end up going your own separate ways. I also think that in about 3 months you might have to make a decision, because circumstances may happen in a certain way where you're kind of faced with, do you want to stick with this or not? Because you have to make a decision in about 3 months. So I think that in 3 months you'll probably end up going in a different direction, or beginning the process of a splitting. No. Cindy, is Caesar and my twin flame? No, you don't have a twin flame in this lifetime. So you're going to have to settle for a good relationship, not the idea of a twin flame. The idea of a twin flame is actually really misunderstood. People think a twin flame means a romantic connection. It doesn't mean. It's basically another version of the word soulmate. We are one individual. You're not half a person. You're not half a soul. You're complete. Your soul didn't say, I'm going to throw half of myself into life and then hope that I meet my twin flame so I can be complete. No, your soul's not stupid. Your soul knows what it's doing. So it's not about a half of you walking around that you're supposed to connect with. It's just with the idea of a soulmate is another persona, another personality complex that is produced by the same soul in a similar lifetime. It is not a common thing. It is actually rare. So drop the soulmate business, because you're going to set yourself up for failure. You're going to stick to toxic relationships longer than you should. Is this person a decent fit for you? Yeah, I actually think the connection could work, but I feel like you're expecting too much right away, and you need to pull back a little bit, because you might be expecting too much and you might be putting too much pressure, and you're going to end up pushing this person away, and then you may end up splitting or not being together. So just be careful with how much pressure you're putting on this individual. But it could be something more, but you got to give them time to catch up, because I feel like you're in a completely different, you're like, you know, hey, I'm in New York, where are you at? And they're like, I didn't even get on the flight. Was there a flight? What are you talking about? And then so you need to like slow your butt down and bring yourself back down to like, you know, be practical. Shannon, hi, will I meet his parents in April, and will that go well? I'm assuming you're asking about a romantic person's parents, right? That's what I'm assuming that's what you mean based on the question you asked, because kind of confusing. I actually think you might meet, I'm not sure it's going to happen in April. It might still happen in the first part of the year, but this might take a little bit longer, and this might get pushed back by a few weeks. So this might not happen until May. But I also see this happening in December, which is a good sign, because if you meet this person's parents in May, but then you also connect with the parents in December, that means there's something still going on. So that's a good sign. So I would think that that's a good thing. Okay. Let me go over here. Jermaine, Ferny, recently applied for a significant higher role at work. Do you foresee this I do think it would be a positive progression for you. I also think that the timing of it may not be exactly what you would think, but I do think that it would be a positive progression for you. So I would say yes, I think it would be good for you. I also think that it would lead to another opportunity as well after about 1.5 years, and then you decide if you want to stick to the one you just went into, or if you want to go with a different option. But I do think that it could work for you. Okay, but give it some time, because the timing may be a little off with what you're being told. Amers 2222. Fernie, is my new guy someone I should pursue a relationship with, even if he isn't my type? I actually recommend like dating outside your type. People, whenever they like tell me like, Fernie, like I haven't met the one, or I haven't met the person, and I'm just like, okay, well, you know, because you keep shopping in the crappy meat section of the same grocery store that doesn't put out fresh meat. So stop shopping at that grocery store and try another store. So whenever I tell someone date outside your type, it's because what we don't understand is that the people that we're drawn to energetically and emotionally, romantically, what you're normally attached to or attracted to is either going to be a representation of the safest partner option you've witnessed in your life, or it's going to be the trigger of your trauma to work through. And that's where it gets tricky. So what I would recommend is, if you're running into the same type and it's not led anywhere, then change your type. Even if that first opportunity to date outside your type doesn't work, it's good practice to shift and to work your energy away from what you're stuck in. And if you've been stuck in those trauma trigger relationships, you need something different to get used to something different, so you don't keep running back to what you're used to, which is the trauma. So that's why I would suggest dating outside your type. You do whatever, by the way, you do whatever you want. I'm not telling you what you should do. I'm just telling you it's a good opportunity to practice. Sochi and Gia. I think it's Sochi and Gia. I was like almost about to say Sochi and Gia, and I was like trying to make it a whole name, but I'm like, wait a minute, it's Sochi and Gia and Gia. Will my daughter find a job soon? Yeah, actually, she might find something in about 4 to 6 weeks. So between 4 to 6 weeks. It may be through a friend, though, because I feel like a friend's going to know about an opportunity through their job or through their company, and then that may open up a door for your daughter. So to keep her eyes open for that. And it literally is, it's one of those things where she's kind of like just like going to get ready to give up, and she may actually decide she wants to do something different. And then all of a sudden, this friend tells her about this, and she's like, okay, I'll go that way then. Yeah, Lorraine Davila. Will my husband obtain his green card? If so, when? 7 months. It might take about 7 months. He might get some good news in 5 months, but I feel like it's going to be 7 months. Self-awareness. Ollie. Hey, Ferny. I was just wondering how I can make my relationship better with Jacob. I'm really trying to work on accountability and was wondering if there's anything I'm missing. I think there's a couple things with this. First of all, I kind of feel like y'all may end up splitting, and then actually things might have an opportunity to work better after they're split. So it could be, for example, like sometimes when people break up and then they realize like what they had or what this could have been, they try to work it out. Like that may actually be the potential for your relationship where y'all may actually take a break with each other and then decide you want to work on it. However, I think the issue is self-awareness. I think the issue is self-awareness because I feel that sometimes people grow up in environments. If people grow up in an environment where just stealing random stuff from a person just because it's available to do is a norm, it's really going to be hard to make that person accountable or to get them to understand what accountability would be if they don't even see that as an issue. So like if you're running around thinking, oh, I can just, someone left their phone on the table and I'm going to go ahead and take it because it's like, for example, here's an example. My ex wanted an iPhone forever and he was like sitting there and like trying to like make him like manifest it. And the universe tends to manifest things in the way that you'll receive it. And so he manifested, he was trying to manifest an iPhone. This is when iPhones were first like the new thing. And so one day he was a flight attendant. He went to work and in the flight attendant lounge where all the other flight attendants are at, his own people, his own kind, he just happened to sit down at a chair and underneath his chair there was an iPhone. And my first thought if I were in that situation, my first thought is like, I gotta help find whose phone this is because if I had lost my iPhone, I would be devastated because these freaking things are expensive. So I was like, I need to find out who this belonged to. So I would try to figure it out. Like, okay, do I have any information on there? If I can access it, I'll go around and like put it out there and try to see if I can find the owner. His first thought was, I got my iPhone. And so he got it, he had it jailbroken, and then he had a new iPhone. And so there's two different perspectives there. And if I sat there and was like, hey, FYI, that's wrong. Like you're stealing someone's shit. Finders keepers my ass. It's still wrong. It doesn't matter. If there's a baby out in the open and it's crying and it looks like, finders keepers, I found this baby, it's mine. But what if the mother was abducted and then she was finally released and she comes back and she's like, I want my baby. Oh, I'm sorry, but I found your baby first. Like, no, you give the baby back to the mother. Like, what the hell's wrong with you? And so it's like, you have to think about it and it's ethics and it's like, no, but it just depends. And so when making people accountable, if it's not a norm for them or if it's not something that they're used to as being a norm, they're going to default into what is a standard behavior for them. And it's really hard to make someone feel accountable to that behavior when it's a norm thing for you. So that's just the way it is. And so I feel like that's going to be a really hard thing to try to do with somebody. Okay. Jessica, will I find love this year? No, I don't think you'll find the person that you are going to end up with this year. I do think you'll date. I just don't think that you'll find the person this year, or you'll end up with the person this year. This might take about two years and 7 months before you really get settled into this new relationship or connection. You need to work on some trauma work because I kind of feel like in some ways, I kind of feel like you're waiting for the universe to make up to you what you have not been able to have your whole life. And I kind of feel like you kind of need to work on that first. The moment that I stopped seeking love in a relationship, romantic relationship, and stopped seeking for someone to make up to me what I felt I had been denied, and just gave myself love is the moment that people just out of nowhere were like just showing up and like just giving love to me. And I was like, okay, cool. And it like changed everything. And for you, I feel like you kind of need to get into a place of just being in a place of love already without somebody being a part of that equation. And then I think you could speed up the time frame. But I feel like right now it's going to take about what is it? Two years and 5 months or 2 years and 7 months. It's like around there that I think it might take some time. Okay. TAI or TIA sounding is like a name. That would be like the name or the nickname, I think, the person. Beth, do you see me having more babies and when? I'm not seeing another baby. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't keep trying if you want one, and that doesn't mean that I'm right, because I can be wrong, but I'm not seeing another baby. So I'm not getting another baby vibe. And I feel like in the next couple of years, you may come to the realization that either it's just not going to go the way that you would want it to go, or you may just decide to just forget it. So I'm thinking you might change your mind in a couple of years, within the couple of years. But I'm not seeing another baby, so I'm not thinking there will be another baby. What is that? What is a love reading? I don't know what that is. Can I have a love reading? Well, no, you asked your question, Mama. You got to ask your question. A love reading is like, first of all, a relationship is a part of a standard reading, a life reading, and we'll do a 30-minute. So you got a chance to ask me one question, spit out the question. Don't spit out, I want a reading. I know you want a reading, that's why you're here. I need you to ask the question. Ferny's a bitch. I am not a bitch. I'm just direct and to the point, y'all, because I ain't got time to waste. Y'all need to just chill out. Calm down. Empress, Ferny, Vanessa. Will I find real genuine love this year? Thanks. Okay, a couple things with this. Same thing, same advice I gave the other person. I do think so you might have somebody pop back into your life this year that's an ex that there is love feelings with. I just don't trust it because I feel like they're just not serious. But then there's somebody else you might meet July or August of next year who might be a good fit for you. It's gonna feel like they're out of your norm, or kind of out of you're gonna feel, I'm not saying this to you, you're gonna feel this way about that, the one next year. You're gonna feel like they're out of your league just because they're on a whole nother level of success, and you might struggle with that, but you need to work on that because I think that might make a difference and could actually work. The person's name starts with a C, a CH sounding name. CHAR sounding, okay? No, you don't have to cash out me. This is all free, so there's no cost for this. Yeah, Bumblebee. Susan, does my granddaughter Madison have any messages? Yeah, so I'm seeing a bee. What I'm reminded of is I'm reminded of those pictures that I've seen. I forgot what the photographer's name was, but you know how you have these pictures of these really cute kids and they're wearing different animal, one's a caterpillar, one's a butterfly, one's a bumblebee. I'm seeing a bumblebee. So there might be a reference to the bumblebee color or something that they have on in a picture where they're wearing the bumblebee color, that yellow and black colors. But I'm seeing something like that. So there's something referencing there that I'm seeing. They also are acknowledging the 31st, I want to say. 31st of a month may be significant, so the 31st of a month or March 1st will be connected. They also keep acknowledging they're doing this. So there's a necklace that's also connected to them as well. There's two necklaces that might be connected to them. They might even be different colors because I'm almost feeling like I'm seeing one color, then I'm seeing another color. So there might be two necklaces that might be custom or that might have a significance to them with colors, but there's separate colors that are connected to either that, or they each have a separate colored stone, but there's something to that they're making reference to as well. They also keep, thank you. They just gave me a name. There's a Victoria or Vic sounding name that they're making reference to. So either that's their name or the name of someone that's with them in spirit, I believe. Because I almost want to tie that into someone in spirit, and it almost feels like it's an older person that's tied to that name. It may not be the grandchild. So I'm thinking that that's another person, but they're acknowledging that name. So either they're with that person or there's a connection to the family with that name. Okay. Let me go over here. Oops. Thank you, Denise. She's like, I'm so glad you vented. I don't like to vent because I internalize everything. I like to internalize all of my stuff because it helps me to figure things out. But sometimes I'm like, I'm like holding too much energy and I need to release it. Yeah, Genovi, any messages from my father? So first of all, he wants to let you know that he's proud of you. He's making a symbol for baby. So either there's an attempt to try to have a child, or there might have been a baby that's been born since his passing. The only other thing that could be is if there's a baby that was miscarried, lost, or terminated. But even if there were, I kind of feel like there's a recycle or a repeat coming up with like the same individual trying to get back in. So it might just be like a recycle or a repeat. But he's acknowledging that. He also is making reference. There might be like a special helmet or hat that your dad would be known for, or that is connected to your father. I don't know if this is like a cap, because those are like regular caps, but I almost want to think, I'm thinking of almost like a helmet, almost like, whenever someone is in construction and they have those hard hats, or there's a reference to like a hat that it's got a special thing to it because it feels special. It doesn't feel like just a baseball cap. So it almost feels like it's something separate. He also showed me leather. So I don't know if you have his wallet or you have a piece of leather like a belt or something that's connected to your dad that he's making reference to as well. He also taps on the windows or taps on the wall. So if you ever have weird experiences with tapping in the house and no one's there, like that might be a sign from him because he's almost tapping on things to get your attention. Perfect. Someone's responding. He used to work for the cable company. And you have both. Perfect. Yep. Move with Mindy. Is my relationship long distance, moving towards he or I relocating to the other? Is he serious? So I think he is serious, but I also think that he might be ahead of himself as far as like what he's able to do. And so it might take longer than you want it to take. So you may just have to be patient. I'm a little worried about you though, because when I think of you, I'm not saying this is how you're going to be, but here's what I'm going to say. There was once I did a reading for this lady, and this was like at a psychic fair when I used to do fairs. And she was like, this guy, he lives in so-and-so and he's moving to be with me. Is he my soulmate? And I was like, no, he's not your soulmate, and she's like, what do you mean? And I was like, no, he's not your soulmate. Like this guy, it could be a good relationship. I don't think he's your soulmate, but I also don't think you're going to stick with him. I feel like he's going to change his mind and not move, because of challenges that y'all end up having in the relationship. And she was like, what do you mean? What? And she got all huffy and puffy. She's like, every psychic that I've talked to has said, this is my soulmate and we're going to be together. And I was like, I ain't every psychic, ma'am. I'm Ferny. And I'm telling you, this is what I am seeing. I don't give a shit what the other psychic said. This is what I see. You asked me. That's the answer. So I don't feel like it's going to stick. I kind of feel like this person's going to change their mind. And I honestly think you'll be dating someone else or be involved with somebody else. She's like, well, I am dating somebody else. And I was like, what the hell you ask? Why are you going to ask me if this person's your soulmate? Like, that's the stupidest thing to ask me about, because you obviously don't think this person's your soulmate if you're already dating somebody else. So I kind of was like, girl, but this was back when I had a mouth and I was like comfortable with expressing myself. So back then I would have ripped her a new one, but back then I was too shy and I was just like, in my head, this is all happening in my head, right? But anyways, back to you, mama. I do think that he is serious, but I don't think that the timing is going to be where this is going to happen fairly soon. And it may start to feel like this is like dragging out and like all these promises, but it's not happening. And so you might get tired and frustrated and actually end up talking to somebody else or starting to open up the door to other people, while he might still have still be kind of fixated on the idea that this could actually work. But it's going to take time and it might take longer. I'm not telling you to wait. I'm not telling you you should wait. You have to decide what's best for you. I'm just saying it might take a lot longer than you expected. And I do think he would be the one moving to be with you. Okay? If that were going to happen. No. Haley Bug, I pushed this guy away and regret it. Will he ever talk to me again? I'm not feeling confident that he's going to come back around. So I feel like that's done. Why does this... sometimes like it keeps moving even though like I'm scrolling. Hi Ferny, I've been battling with ears, nose, and throat issues. And specialist can't find anything. I was referred to another one, any pointers for this new doctor to look for? Yeah, a couple things. You might need to check with a neurologist, because even though this might seem like a completely different type of issue, I kind of feel like your neurological system is affecting or a part of the equation. So I almost feel like a neurologist might actually help with this, because I feel like something is triggering this from a central location, and it may be affecting it may be affected by the because the nervous system, would it be a neurologist or a nerve doctor? I feel like it's a neurologist. I'm going to say neurologist. I'm thinking it's a neurologist. So I feel like a neurologist might help. Go to this next doctor. Try to see if there's anything that they can do for you. But after this, I would try a neurologist, because it might be something connected with the neurological system that might be triggering this or creating this issue for you. Actually, you know what I'm thinking of? I don't know if you had an accident or a fall, because I'm almost feeling like the back of the back of the cortex, or the back of the area, this area, the back of the head, I feel like something was affected. And ever since then, it's almost like this has become a progressive thing. And sometimes when there's swelling or when there's more like inflammation, it can trigger this to get worse. And I'm almost feeling like something might have happened that you did not even associate with what you're experiencing that is tied to this. And so I kind of feel like there's something that may have been the trigger. And then if you go to the right doctor, they may understand or come to a realization about what could be triggering this. But I almost want to say it's the neurological system. But still go to the regular doctors. Follow a doctor's advice, because I ain't a doctor. I can only tell you what I sense or what I feel. And let's bring somebody on, shall we? Because I think I'm ready to talk. I hope. I'm still not energetic yet, but I'm going to give it a go, because I know that some of y'all have been waiting. Make sure the volume's up. Hello.
Hi.
Hi, sweetheart. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm getting there.
Good. I'm going to move I was watching cartoons with my daughter. I'll come in here so you don't have to listen to Baby Shark.
Cool. No, you're fine. A question. Have you seen the new She-Ra, the new like animated series She-Ra?
No, I haven't.
Do you remember the old She-Ra?
Yeah, I was like, yes, I was so big into that.
So, okay, so 2 animated series. I'm not a big animated person, but the new She-Ra series on Netflix is hysterical. It's like, oh my gosh. And I remember the old She-Ra, but I don't remember all the details. But this one is hysterical. The characters, just hysterical. And then if anyone out there who's a Star Trek fan, even though, like I said, I'm not really into cartoons, but there's a series called Lower Decks. Hysterical. If you're a Star Trek fan, you like will like.
Is that one's on Netflix as well?
That one is on Paramount. That's on Paramount.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay. I'll check them out for sure.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah. What'd you want to ask me about?
Well, this is more of a mediumship question.
Mm-hmm.
My dad's mom passed away when he was a child. Mm-hmm. So I obviously never got to meet her, but I feel
was he raised by another female, or was there another mother figure for him?
Yes, he was adopted by his aunt.
Okay. Because as soon as you started mentioning her, I was getting mom, and then I was getting like an additional mother figure. Or both of them passed?
Yes.
Okay, that's why. It's gonna sound weird, because I'm seeing Christina Applegate, and then I'm seeing apples in my head. Do you know there's a reference to either the name Christina Apples or a name like Apple gate
Um,
connected?
no, nothing that I can think of.
Okay. Here's what I will say. Either there's a reference to the name Christina
Mhm.
Applegate, Apples, or there's some sort of Apple like business or Apple thing that might have been connected to the family. But the first thing I saw was Christina Applegate, but specifically the Applegate part. And I was like, why am I seeing Applegate? So I was seeing that. Um, do you know if his aunts were a little more stern or a little more like strict?
Yeah.
Because I'm almost, that's
Very,
the, um, what if he actually had a really difficult relationship with the aunt?
yes, it was, they were very abusive.
Okay, this is why. Because I was like, why am I seeing the apples? Because at first I saw Christina Applegate, then I saw the apples, and then I saw like Snow White, and I was trying to figure out where that snow and the reference to the apple and the Snow White. So this is where I think this is going,
Okay.
where Snow White, she had, her, but at the same time there was the wicked stepmother who was
Yeah.
got it. So I think this is where they're going with this. She needs to come forward first, the stepmother slash aunt, because she needs to apologize for what she did. Um,
Okay.
she was really resentful for feeling pressured into doing this because she makes me feel like this wasn't her decision so
Yeah.
much. I felt very pressured into it, and and so she needs to apologize to him. This is not his fault. This is not something that was of his doing, but she still needs to acknowledge her role in all of this and just apologize for the trauma she's caused. She's talking about the burn thing. At one point, did he actually get burned in his arm, or was there like an event where there was a burn?
Very possible. He doesn't usually talk about the things that happened.
Okay, because it's almost like someone's gonna try to cook and then they like, oh, you want to cook? Let me show you how to cook, and then they burn them. Or you
Yeah.
want to iron? I'll show you how to iron, and then they burn. But there might even be a slight mark on his arm that might still exist from this.
Does have a scar, and I have no idea how he got
Yeah,
it.
she's apologizing. So all of this is kind of tied together. So she's just wanting to acknowledge this. She just says, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry," and I think she now realizes who she was in life and why
Right.
she was. Now she says this was her gift to him because he deserved to connect with his mom. She wanted to be the one connecting him to his mother. Mama's coming forward. The first thing she showed me Valentine's Day. Do you know there's a connection to either February or Valentine's Day?
Yes. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine because she's acknowledging that. She also keeps acknowledging, thank you. She's actually shown up a lot in his life, whether he realized it or not. And she's even appeared in photos as these like blobs or these white little misty things that may have popped up in pictures from time to time. She also says the night terrors, thank you. I don't know if he used to have really hard trouble sleeping, or sometimes he couldn't like let himself fall asleep because if he fell asleep, he was afraid of like if he woke up. So she's acknowledging being with him when these things would happen. And she's just like, I'm just here with you. I'm here with you. She also keeps acknowledging, she's showing me a rose. So there might be a rose pattern or a rose that is sewed into something that is connected to mom. Do you know there's something that exists that's got a rose sewn
Well,
in or connected to her?
I told you I'd never met her, but I feel compelled to go visit her grave, and I took her flowers for Valentine's Day, and I also have taken roses out there for her, so
Okay.
that that's possibly what that's about.
It is. I'm still going to say there might also be like a piece of fabric or something that has like a rose etched into it, or on her marker, there's a rose etched into it. But there's something about a rose as well that might be kind of like it's a not a real rose, but the pattern of a rose that might
Okay.
be significant. So just FYI with that.
I,
But she is acknowledging and being aware of your Valentine's Day visit and so forth. So that's probably her way of acknowledging that. She's got the babies with her. There's two babies. Do you know there's two babies that were miscarried, lost, or terminated? There was twins.
yes. I
Okay.
didn't
So
know there were two, but she was pregnant when she died, and no one, it was back in the 60s, so
yeah,
instead of it was
yeah,
2 1, so it was twins.
yeah. So she's just acknowledging that there's babies with her. She says there's two or possibly twins. So just FYI, she's just acknowledging this. Harrelson. Do you know there's a Haroldine sounding name?
There's a Harvey.
Well, that would work. HAR. That would work. How is the Harvey connected to her or to your
Well,
husband?
my dad's name is Harvey. My dad's dad, her husband, was named Harvey as
Ah,
well.
okay. Your dad's also passed?
No, my dad's still alive.
This must be the other person then. So she just might be acknowledging who's there with her, who's in spirit as well. Thank you. Was there a street named after the family? Or do you know if the family like owned an entire street and then they built it out into sections or subplots?
I'm honestly not sure.
Okay. She's acknowledging, she's brought up that name, and then I'm pretty sure she's acknowledging that because it's someone with her. But then she's talking about the situation where a family. So I have an uncle, and their father, he owned an entire like area of acreage, had a street built out, named, and then they subdivided it into plots. So they're showing me something like that. So either that's connected to your side of the family, or that's connected to his side of the family, and the mom is just making reference or clarifying that as well. Do y'all have a candle that's connected to her?
A Kindle?
A candle.
Oh, a candle? I light candles for her sometimes.
Okay, she's just acknowledging you lighting the candles and being aware of that as well. She's
Okay.
also visited the kids, so if they've seen a female that they don't understand exactly who she is, that is her coming around the family as well. Did your husband have an incident or an accident that could have been way, way worse? And it was like, wow.
It's not husband, it's my dad's mom.
Oh, got it. Do you know if there was an accident where it could have been way worse and they could have died? But there, people were like, I don't know how you escaped that or got out of that, but that was interesting. Okay. She's just acknowledging being a part of that process and protecting.
Okay.
Yeah. She's okay. She's around y'all.
Okay. Well, she was murdered, and she saved the children, like my dad's siblings. So I think she's the reason that the kids didn't get hurt.
Yeah. I feel like that this was mentally ill and was not okay.
Yeah.
She may not have been the only person, because I feel like this would have been more than one person that may have been killed by that person's hands.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, she's okay, sweetheart. She's with y'all.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, sweetheart. You take care of yourself.
But I'll talk to you soon. I'll get
All
a
right, all right, mama.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, let's see. Going over here. Let's go to TikTokers. It's got some people waiting here. Let's go to this one. Is it going to connect? Is it going to... Hello? See if you can... No, I'm just seeing it. Oh, there you are. Yay! Can you hear me? Oh, I can't hear you. You might need to turn on your audio también. Oh, you know what? It's because I have my... Stupid me. It's my fault. It's my fault. There we go. Say something now for me. No, it's not. It's still not doing it. Why is it doing? Why is it doing that? Because I'm trying to hear you out to see where. Yeah, it's not coming through, huh? I can't hear you. Let me see. Yeah, I can't hear you. It's weird. I'm like, where is this? Where's the volume? Hold on. Let me see. I'm gonna do one more thing. See if that'll. Okay.
Where's the
Yes,
there it
there
is.
you
Can
are.
you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
I hear you. I hear you.
Yay!
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm waiting for it to catch up because there's like an echo.
Oh, okay. Quick question. I wanted to just ask, how my dad's doing, if he has any messages.
Oop, oop. Oop, oop, oop. Hold on. Oh. There you are.
Are we getting stuck again? I think we're frozen.
I'm here. I'm here.
Yeah, it's freezing. Okay. I just was wondering about my father. Any messages?
Yeah, with your dad. The first thing he's showing me, thank you. Do you know if there were donations made in your dad's honor?
I don't know.
Okay, there's like an echo. I'm trying to like hold on. Don't hang up. Let me see something real quick. That's like I'm like, oh no. I'm like trying to get this without having all of the echo. So that way it doesn't sound crazy. Okay, let's see. All right.
I'm not hanging
Let's
up.
see.
I don't
Cool.
know. The signal's terrible.
That's okay. Here, can you hear me now?
That's okay. Hear me now? Yes.
Okay.
I hear you.
There's still an echo, but that's okay. It might just be the way it's coming through. Okay, so with Dad, the first thing I'm seeing is if I were gonna go into a place and I'm seeing like a name on it, do you know if there's a place that was either dedicated to you, Dad, or if he was honored in a business?
I'm not sure.
Okay, here's what I'm seeing. And so I'm gonna describe what I'm seeing because it may not be Dad, and I wanna make sure I'm connecting with the right person. So the individual coming forward is acknowledging that either there was donations made in their honor or there was, let me volume here because that's going to making me crazy. There was either donations made in their honor or there was something named in their honor, but it feels like it's like the wing of a building, or like if someone gets a brick and makes a donation and then they get a brick. There's something like this that they're making reference to. They're also talking about like cancer awareness or something to do with cancer that might be connected to this. They're also acknowledging how there was more than one father figure. Thank you. Did you have more than one father figure, or there's an in-law?
Yeah, my grandfather.
Okay. Do you know if something like this was done for him?
It may have been, yes. He had throat cancer.
Throat cancer? Okay. Do you know if he was well known in the community, or he had like a lot of people who really like were affected by his loss?
Yes, yes.
Got it. Was he also mentioned in the paper or in a news article, in a news segment?
Yes, yes.
Local? Okay, got it. So he's acknowledging that. So this is Grandpa. So Grandpa, I think your grandpa wants to come first, or wants to be acknowledged first. He is acknowledging having your father with him. Your dad is pointing to his chest. Do you know if there was a heart-related issue with your dad, or his if there was fluid around the heart?
Well, when he was shot in the chest.
Oh, he was shot in the chest. Okay, because I'm seeing this, and then I'm seeing fluid, and I was like, okay, is this fluid or what? Okay, so he's acknowledging this. He also makes me feel thinking. Do you know there was 2 shots, but only 1 got him?
I believe so.
Okay. He also makes me feel like this was intentional. Do you know if this was actually intentional, or the person that did this intended this?
It was supposedly not. It was accidental, but they did go to jail.
Okay, that's good. I think that they should have gone to jail. I feel like this was intentional, but it was intentional to try to keep someone from almost like get away or back away. It's almost like trying to push someone away, and in the process of it, it shoots. But it does feel intentional, like they were intentionally pointing it at him. So he's making me feel this way. He's also acknowledging the birthday. Did he pass within like days of his birthday or a birthday?
Of his birthday, yes.
His birthday, got it. So he's acknowledging passing within days of his birthday. M.A. Do you know if there's an M.A. male name?
Oh, his father, Martin?
Okay, so your grandfather?
Yeah.
Okay, so your grandfather, Martin, what's happening is your grandfather is just wanting to talk, and he's the one that's coming through the strongest, but your dad is like there with them. So he's just probably acknowledging that. He also keeps acknowledging the 13th. Do you know if the 13th of a month is significant, or January 3rd is connected?
I'm not sure.
That's okay. The 13th of a month or January 3rd, but he's making reference to that. He also he's acknowledging mom, so he's making reference to mom. Did your mom and dad not have the easiest relationship, or they just were not as close as they should have been?
You're correct.
Okay. He's blaming himself because he says that he could have handled that relationship a lot differently, and he blames himself for a lot of the issues. He's also, mom is still alive?
No.
Okay. Because he's apologizing to mom, but I was like, I want to make sure she's still alive so we can pass it on to you. He's apologizing to mom in front of me in my head so that he's apologized to her or made peace with her. So this is his way of acknowledging that. She's laughing because she's like, okay, just because we're on camera, you want to do it now while we're on camera? So she's almost like, yeah. So she's just like giving him a hard time about it. He also, thank you. He did come in a dream, but there might have been either fluid in his mouth or something that was kind of like liquidy. Do you remember that? That's okay. There was a dream where he had fluid in his mouth, or he was drinking something that he was trying to come through in, and he might not have said anything in the dream, but he was just trying to make his presence known so that way y'all knew that he was okay. Was he also a bit of a drinker? He liked to drink?
Yes.
Yeah, so he's just acknowledging that. He might have been honored also with a drink, or someone might have done like a drink or poured a drink over his remains, but he's acknowledging that. He's okay. He's all right, sweetheart.
And my grandpa and my grandparents as well.
Yeah, your grandpa. Yeah, absolutely. It's funny because your grandpa is such a different energy from your dad. It's like it's funny because they have a lot of similarities in their behavior, but they're different. And this is like your grandpa is so much different. Have you been married? Have you gotten married since his passing, your grandpa?
Yeah, I got married after. Yeah.
Perfect. He knows about your marriage, and he's wishing you well with that, or just acknowledging the relationship and wishing well. So he's just acknowledging the marriage after his passing. There's a baby with him as well, but it feels like it's an animal that would have been treated like a baby. Like, oh, that's my baby, but it's an animal. So I want to say this is like a little dog that he's acknowledging with him. Okay. All right, sweetheart. Well, you take care of yourself, Mama.
Thank you. You too.
You're welcome.
Have a good night.
Bye-bye. All right. Yeah, it was weird. It was like an echo, and I was like, what's going on with the echo? So it's kind of hard to hear because I'm like hearing myself. It's like I'm already hearing voices in my head with them, and then hearing myself speaking, and then on top of that, hearing myself speaking again. I'm like, I feel like Paul Selig. I don't know if y'all know who Paul Selig is. He's a friend of mine. He's a medium. He's a channeler, and when he channels, he goes into connection, and then he repeats things as he's channeling like 3 or 4 separate times, and it's like kind of hard to follow at the beginning, and then you kind of get used to it. So kind of reminded me, I was like, oh my god, I feel like I'm like Paul. Let's go over here. All right, let's go over here. Let's see. Let's go. Don't worry, y'all. I'll come back to y'all. I'm not done yet. Hello. Hello, can you hear me?
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here. You might need to turn on your camera.
Figure out how to do the video.
Yeah. If you look at the upper right corner, there might be a little pencil, and if you click that, it's like an edit button, and then it'll give you permission to give the camera a go.
On the upper right corner.
That's what I was told. I don't know for sure. That's what I was told. So I'm just giving you what the. That's okay. Yeah, it should be like a little pencil. What they said was in the upper right corner of your screen, there's a little pencil that's like an edit button. But if not, just look for the little pencil. It looks like a little. It looks like a pencil. I mean, it's not obviously not like a colored pencil, but it's like a little pencil. And it's like an edit that allows you to like edit your settings.
I don't have any pencil. That's so weird.
What's in the upper right corner for you?
The 48 people on there, Explore and TikTok ban zone. That's it.
Huh. I wonder what about the bottom? The bottom right.
Just disconnect. Click this. Oh, I found it. You have to click the. There we go.
What'd you click?
Oops, sorry. I clicked the people like as if I'm joining, and then there's the pencil.
Ah, okay. So click the people like you're joining. Okay, got it. See, I'm gonna have to wrap my mind around all of that.
I'm like, there's no pencil.
No, you're fine. What do you want to ask me about, sweetheart?
I would like to know if you hear from my stepdad at all.
Yeah,
I've been to a few mediums, but he never comes through.
Yeah, with your stepdad. Before I go to your stepdad, I mean, you're like, oh my god, he's going somewhere else. There's a female nurse energy that's around you that's passed away. Do you know of a female nurse that's passed?
A nurse.
She might have even passed from COVID.
Oh, I mean, actually, my aunt's mom did pass of COVID.
Got it.
Actually,
Was she a nurse or did she work at a hospital?
she might have been. I'm not exactly. She was older, so I'm not sure what she did before that.
Ah, okay. So yeah, so just follow up because that may help to kind of pass that message along to them, and she might just need a little bit of like hope right now because she might be going through it. Okay, with your stepdad.
Yes.
With your stepdad, do you know if there's a very prominent picture with you on a swing or holding his hand, like being swung in the air?
There is a prominent one of me and him in one of that I share all the time, actually.
Is it? Do you know if there's something about something being swung in the air or holding hands?
Not that I can think of.
So
but I might be on the spot.
That's okay. No, that's okay. This is why I tell people, like, even in the moment, if you don't tell me yes or no, it's okay. Go back over the recording because I'll make them available anyway, so you can see it again. There's something like that because it almost reminds me of. It's almost like whenever someone's had a child, and they're super excited to be like the child's like grandparent or father or whatever, and like they're playing with the kid, and it's almost like they've got them with their hands and they're being swung or played
That's
with.
funny because we do have a childhood swing at our grandparents' cabin that we've used since all of us through every generation. It's the same tire swing that's been on the tree.
Okay, so again, there might be a picture or him because there's a reference to that. He showed me the number 7. Do you know if the 7th of a month or July is connected?
My daughter was born in July.
Perfect. Did he not get a chance to spend too much time with her or meet her?
He actually passed 3 weeks after she passed.
Perfect. He's acknowledging he's been following along with her since his passing because he's like, I can't neglect my duties or I can't neglect my.
She's actually named after him.
Perfect. He's acknowledging been following with her since the passing. So he's acknowledging that. He also says that thank you. He felt very honored to be your father. He doesn't call himself your stepfather. He calls himself your father. Yes. So he's being very insistent on that. And he actually almost like pushes your dad to the side to make sure that he refers to himself as dad. So that's all he will accept. He also keeps thank you.
It is because my dad wasn't in my life.
So got it. He also makes me feel, thank you. Okay, he's got me looking at the sky and clouds and the stars. I don't know if y'all had an experience where y'all either saw a star and said, oh, that was, that's grandpa, or if y'all saw something in the clouds and associated that with him, but he showed me something like that. So do you know what he's referring to?
Yeah.
Okay. So
we actually have a lot of weird things that have been happening lately.
Okay.
Because my sister got married recently.
Got it. So he's acknowledging that, the sky thing or the star thing, because he's making reference to that. He also keeps showing me the number 2 as well. Do you know if February or the 2nd of the month is also connected?
My sister got married on 2/22/22.
Perfect. So because you said my sister got married, that would have been something he could have told me that I could have confirmed for you. So I was like, damn, I missed that opportunity to confirm that for you. But then he said 2, like it was the 2. So he validated it for me, so I could still give it to you. He also keeps, thank you. He's like showing me a bowl and like mixing stuff. Do you know if he liked to like mix stuff in the kitchen, or if there's a memory of y'all trying to make something in a big old bowl in the kitchen?
He actually always makes vodka orange juice.
Okay.
So I don't know if maybe that's it.
No, this is something else. I'm seeing Chappardi. I'm seeing Italian food. This is something that's got like spaghetti Italian food vibes to it, and I feel like a big old bowl. And he's just like trying to mix something or whip something. But it's almost like a funny thing where someone's trying to make something, they get tired, and he's like, "I'll take over," and then he's trying to do it for them, and then it's almost like not really working. Yeah, that's okay. I'll leave that with you because there's a reference there, and it's almost like chocolate mousse or mousse, where it's a very Cool Whip type.
Oh, his favorite cake that we made all the time was that. It was like a drizzle. I think it was a chocolate. There's a name for it, but it's all different layers, and it's that's so funny. You
got it.
That,
okay.
he always had to have that.
Perfect. So he's just acknowledging that. So he's making reference to that. Yes. He also is apologizing for the timing of his passing, because even though your daughter had just been born, he says there was another date right around that time. Was there also another date right within that time frame also?
Well, as far as like his passing,
death date, anniversary date, birth date, there was another date as well, because he's talking about another date. So it would be like another date. So your daughter was born 3 weeks before he passed away. Yes. And then around that same time frame, there was another birth date, death date.
I got pregnant 3 weeks after my daughter.
Got it.
Right after.
Perfect. Okay. So he's acknowledging the second date of significance right out. Got it. So he's just making sure that he knows. Yeah. Thank you. Before your daughter was born, had you had either a miscarriage, loss, termination, or was there an attempted pregnancy?
I had 3 miscarriages.
Perfect. The second child that was born, or the one that came in 3 weeks after, he says is the same soul trying to get back in. So you actually gave birth to your child that you had lost. So he's letting you know that.
You know what's funny is a medium told me that like he came to our house back then. This was many years ago, and he knew when I had lost it. And he's like, "Your next was a girl, and your next one will be a girl. My first one was a girl."
Yeah.
That's so
So you've got this soul coming back in as well, because he's acknowledging that. Is there also a jelly bean or jelly nickname for an animal? Because he's acknowledging an animal, and I feel like there's a jelly bean or bean or jelly sounding nickname. It's almost like a jelly sounding food that's connected to the name of the animal that's in spirit with him.
maybe Peaches or Scooter. The only animals I could think of his. Peaches was our poodle, but I'm trying to think of.
I don't know if it's Peaches because I feel like I would have gotten fruit with that one. I feel like this is jelly, like Jello or Jelly or Jimbo. It's got a Jelly or J sounding, Jim sounding nickname that's connected to this animal. But it looks like a larger animal. That's okay. It's like a larger animal. It almost reminds me of like a chocolate, like Doberman, or like a chocolate kind of that smooth chocolatey skin. That's like and it's missing a tail, but it's dog that's passed as well that he's acknowledging with him.
The dog. I have to think. I can't.
That's okay. It's a larger dog, so just FYI. But there's like a Jello or Jelly or unless it's like a Jimmy or Jilly. It's got a name like that is somehow referencing a jelly bean or Jello in some way. But he's acknowledging that. He is the birds and the butterflies. Those are both connected to him. Feathers and feathers in a hat are also connected somehow.
Yeah.
So he's just acknowledging that as well. So, like whenever they do the Paul Revere, because he's like almost like rehearsing. Did he ever like get on a stage or did he ever play with someone to try to pretend to be like a part for someone when they were in a play?
I'm not sure I did. I'm not sure if
okay, because he's showing me like when you put a feather in a cap and it's like, well, hello there, sir. And he's like doing this whole like. Oh, yeah. Okay, so he's like doing this because he's like acting this way. He's just a goofball. He's like a fun guy because he's like just wanting to like, yeah. I can't think of him as like an older person because I feel like he'll line up with the energy of the person he's talking to. So if he's talking to an adult or a kid, he like goes to that level and he plays with them. He'll play with the kids. So that's his energy.
Oh, he's amazing.
He's showing me. I don't know if this is a train set or a firefighter truck set. Car thing. Do you know there's something like that connected to him?
A train set. We have his Pittsburgh Steelers.
Perfect. He's acknowledging his train set, and he's just aware of that as well. He's with you, sweetheart. And he's super happy to connect with you. He says he's tried several times to connect with you. He says he was about to give up, but then he says they called his number he says he was sitting there waiting. He's like, I don't think they're gonna call me. And then the number lit up and he's like, ah! So he says he got super excited. He says, you always have to wait for everything. Why do we always have to wait? Even in heaven, you have to wait in line. He's laughing.
We always joke about that too because we go to mediums and because I think you guys are so healing, like so healing.
Yeah, he's okay.
I'm just so grateful.
He's sweetheart. He's
seriously.
With you. He's with you, Mama.
Thank you. I appreciate it. You're a heaven sent.
Oh, you're welcome, sweetheart. Will you take care of yourself,
Thank you.
You're welcome, darling.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, going over here. Let me see. Over here. Hello. Hello, Miller Light.
Oh, really?
Hi, sweetheart. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. What do you want to ask me about?
Sorry. So my mom passed away 6 months ago in jail, and it took 6 months to get the autopsy report back. And I was just wondering if there was any messages from her, and also if they really did try to resuscitate her.
Sorry. Don't anymore because I want her to tell me. The first thing she's showing me. Do you know if she had been having sepsis or an infection when this happened?
No.
Okay, because the way she's showing herself to me, she's showing herself to me like I feel like I'm shivering a little bit, and I feel like I'm cold, and I feel like I've got an infection, or like I feel like I don't feel right. So she's making me feel this way. She also makes me feel that this either contributed to some sort of weird clotting or some event that triggered an effect on the heart as well. But I also feel like I collapse or I fall over as well. Do you know about those details?
I don't know the details.
Okay.
She was on drugs.
I kind of feel like whatever this was might have pretty much caused a weird, almost poisoning of her blood. And it's weird. It's different from just someone that does like drugs and is overdosing. It almost feels like I consume something and I get sick from it, or I develop an infection from it. And it's almost like if you know how like sometimes they make hooch, but if it was like contaminated, I feel this way. It's like something makes me contaminated with this. Something's weird with this. So that's the first thing she's making reference to. She also makes me feel, thank you. Do the time frames not match up with when she actually passed versus when they reported it or when they said she had? Because something seems a little off and sketchy to me.
Yep,
Okay.
yep,
I kind of feel like either they didn't report it right away or people didn't want to get in trouble. Because I feel
yep.
like someone would have gotten in trouble had they reported accurately. And because she's
Hmm.
this way, she also makes me feel, thank you. First of all, she says she loves you. Um, it was hard for her. Mom went through a lot of trauma herself, and it was almost like she couldn't cope with life, period. And so for her, it was like anything was just going to be a process for her. I almost feel like she was an undiagnosed person, like she hadn't been properly diagnosed with her condition. Do you know if she suffered from a mental illness or she was like bipolar or suffered from something like that?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she was bipolar.
Okay, because she makes me feel like she was not properly diagnosed, but she also says she dealt with a lot of trauma. She also said that sometimes she would tell people things and they wouldn't believe her. And she says that she was trying to be honest sometimes and they wouldn't believe her. Do you know if she ever had mentioned something about someone attacking her or an assault?
Yes.
She says that was true, that it did happen. She says that people didn't believe her or didn't give her the benefit of the doubt, but that was true. She also makes me feel that there's kind of like a weird cult. The prison that she was at or where she was at, there's a weird culture there where there's a lot of like gang-like activity within the facility itself amongst the people who are supposed to be there to protect them or keep order. Because she makes me feel like there's a weird thing like that. So it's almost like it's not just, it's like sometimes it's scarier dealing with them than with the actual prisoners themselves because she almost makes me feel like that. Thank you. Do you know if the month of November or the 11th of a month is connected?
She died on the 11th.
Perfect. She's just acknowledging the timing of her passing. She also makes me feel thank you. Do you have do you know if there's a teddy bear or a stuffed animal that's connected to mom?
She bought my kids a lot of stuffed animals.
Okay. Do you know if any of these have like Winnie the Pooh vibes or like Yellow Bear vibes?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because she's acknowledging that. So she's making reference to this. She triggered your fire alarms. So you might have had weird experiences. That's her. She says she's been coming around to get to let you know she's with you. She wants to ask you for forgiveness because she feels that sometimes making you worry about her was just what she shouldn't have done. She says you had enough on your plate and it's not and I shouldn't have done that to you. So she's almost acknowledging it. Sometimes you were more of the parent than she was. And so she's almost acknowledging that and she's thanking you for being there for her in that way. She feels a lot better and she now feels like she's in full control of her mind and of the way that she is. She also says, I didn't realize how much you actually love me and how much you really had to push past your anger because she says, I get it now. I get it now. I get it now. She also says, you're never going to be like me, so don't worry about it. You'll never struggle like I did. So she's letting you know about that. She also is doing this. This might mean a couple of things. Either there was a huge shift with like a divorce or a separation, or sometimes things have to come to a conclusion for something to begin or something to be made better. So I don't know if she had come out of a divorce that was the trigger for some of these things to happen, or if since her passing, something has changed with the relationship that you were connected to. But she's acknowledging sometimes things have to stop or end in order for something new to be started. But she's acknowledging that. Either that or there's something about taking off the ring because she's taking off the ring, not putting it on. So either there's something, again, connected to divorce, a separation that was a trigger, or this ring coming off that is somehow connected because she's acknowledging that as well. Carrie, Kieran, Carrie,
Amira,
could be. Who is that to mom? Who is that to you?
that's my daughter.
Okay. Does she see things and sometimes like talk to herself?
Yeah.
Okay. Your mom says she tries to come through your daughter, and your daughter may actually do things in a weird way sometimes where it's like, that's what she would. So she says that sometimes she tries to channel through your daughter, and your daughter may not fully realize what's happening. But she says that is her coming through, just to let you know she's with you, because your daughter's also sensitive too. She might actually turn into a medium as well. So just FYI with that.
Yes, I see it in her. We also use a spirit box. So
Yeah, she's with you, sweetheart. She's with you. Again, and she's drawing on my skin, so there might end up being a tattoo or possibly like a heart-shaped tattoo that's connected to mom.
oh, great. Gosh, thank you so
You're
much.
welcome, sweetheart. Well, you take care of yourself, mama, and you're welcome, baby.
All right, bye-bye.
All right, I'm gonna answer a couple more of the comment. Um, let's see. Wait, what's going on? Multi guess then edit. Oh wait, okay. I was like, what's going on? Let's see. I was like, Xtina's like working overtime, girl. Like Xtina's like on here. Like, you know when I think of Xtina on like the phone, even though she's probably I don't know if she's on the phone or computer, but she on a computer be like she'd be doing like that because she's like putting out so much information so quickly. I can't. My fingers don't move that fast. So and plus I have thicker fingers, and so don't y'all hate that for those of y'all who have thicker fingers when you're trying to type on the phone? My iPhone, I try to type and I always hit the period button after every freaking word. It gets on my goddamn nerves, and I'm just like, I wish that the buttons were separate further away, so I wouldn't keep doing that. Um, Blue Steel Girl. Has husband given up on us or is there a reconciliation? I kind of feel I actually think there will be I won't say reconciliation. I do think that he will try to work on the relationships. Um but I'm not technically thinking it's a reconciliation. It's more of like time goes by, I get older, I kind of need to make this right, or I need to reach out. Like that's the vibe that I'm getting. So there may be more of that down the road, not technically like reconciliation, where like the relationship will resume. I'm kind of not feeling that. I'm not actually feeling him moving on. So I'm thinking that he might be moving on, sweetheart. Okay, let's go over here. Yeah, Natalia, do you see the townhouse I'm in being sold and me making a good move? Yes, I do think it's going to get sold, but I feel like it's going to be a little bit complicated with the way they do this because I feel like they may say they're going to sell it, but then they actually don't end up actually selling it when it's supposed to be sold. And they may end up waiting until the end of the year because I'm thinking November, December is when this actually goes in the market and gets sold. And so it might be a little bit of like yeah, we're going to do it. And then they're like, well, we might be doing some work first. So just be aware. You might feel like it's a roller coaster with them. I do think though that you are going to make a good move, but I feel like you will probably be moving before the end of the year. I'm thinking it's going to happen around September or October. I also think it is very possible this could be an opportunity for your own piece of property or for you to actually buy. But it might be a weird way of how it will go about because it feels like you would technically be moving into this place and then not technically be buying or owning yet, but then someone who's connected to that property, they decide at some point they want to sell, and you might have the opportunity to sell it, to buy it, because it's at that point you're able to purchase it. So the next place you move into, maybe you moving in thinking it's going to be a rental or lease space, and then like a few years down the road, they actually sell it to you, and then you end up, it works out really well for you. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I love you all. I will be back on Friday for the next live. Until then, thank you so much. Thank you, Christina, for keeping order